Next type of problem we're going to take a look at are the problems that are asking you to look at various compounds at a given temperature and decide which one is the most soluble and which one is the least soluble. So the first example problem I'm going to start with is which substance shown on the graph below, which is this graph right here, is considered most soluble at 60 degrees Celsius. So to solve this problem, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take a look at our compounds, and we are going to place points at 60 degrees Celsius for where each of these compounds crosses 60 degrees Celsius, because that's considered the point of saturation for each of those compounds. So I'm just going to start at the bottom and work my way up. It's my first point. That's going to be for Ce2SO4. Keep going up. All right, I hit a point here that belongs all the way up. I trace it to NH3. Keep going up. That point belongs to KClO3. Keep going up. NaCl, KCl, NH4Cl, KNO3, and lastly, NaNO3. So I have got all of my points plotted out here for the temperature 60 degrees Celsius. Now, in order to determine which one is the most soluble, I'm going to take a look at the y-coordinate for each of these points. Since the x-coordinate is all the same because they're all at the same temperature, all right, I need to take a look at their y-coordinates. That's the only differing factor for each of these points. And what the y-coordinate represents is, again, what's over here on my y-axis, the grams of solute per 100 grams of water. Now, remember, it's asking us for what's most soluble. So the most soluble compound is going to be the compound that has the largest amount of grams of solute in the same amount of solvent. So, all right, basically what you're looking for is out of these points, which one has the highest y-coordinate. And I can simply draw lines across for each of these to my y-axis to represent where they're going to end up. On our y-axis. And you can see that this point up here, out of all of these, is going to end up with the largest y-coordinate, which looks to be approximately somewhere around 124-ish grams. And so that would be the most soluble compound. And what would its solubility be? It would be 124 grams of solute per 100 grams of water. To flip this, we can also do the most soluble, but we can also do the least soluble. And so our example problem that coincides with the same scenario here is which substance shown on the graph below is considered least soluble at 60 degrees Celsius. And to solve that, it's the same process of setting our points up where each of these lines for each of the compounds crosses over 60 degrees Celsius. But unlike most soluble, where we were looking at the largest amount of grams that can be dissolved in the same amount of solvent, we're looking for the lowest amount of grams that can be dissolved in the same amount of solvent. And so that would be the compound that has the lowest y coordinate, which would be probably approximately maybe 5-ish grams right here for Ce2SO4 3.